Kansan,
Tilasa,
you are coming in September.
21st to the 25th.
What is the New Earth Salt Healing? And what is for you as an experience in your daily life?
Okay, so salt healing, the way I teach it, because I'm not the only person in the world working with salt. So there's in our tradition, there's Salika. She has her own tradition, which has a different flavor than mine. Of course, I can only talk about my flavor, and my salt healing is really very much linked to my life task in this world. Spiritually, I'm a warrior, I'm a protector. So my task is really to protect the light from the darkness and make sure that people who want to come into the light, they can get there safely. So that's why my salts, they're very direct and very powerful. They're sort of like, if you will, like weapons. Yeah, but of course not weapons to destroy. They are weapons to make sure if someone really needs a step on their path, you can use my salts. And if it's within natural law, of course, it has to always be natural law, you can use my salts and say, okay, we will install the light the way it needs to be and nothing can stop that salt. And that's sort of the core quality of my salt healing. It is very powerful in its essence, and that's why it's also very important, I say this again and again, to use it very carefully. Too much light is not a pleasant experience. So my salt healers, they are always asked to be very caring and very careful. First, really check exactly what your client needs. And then when you do that, my salts feel very happy. Feedback is people say it's such a happy energy, such a light energy. So if it's done well, people really experience them as a joy of life.
And how a beginner, let's say, can know when to stop?
Yeah, this is why the responsibility always lies with the trained salt healers. So beginners usually only work with products that have been safety tested. When I make a product, it's not just the salt energy and that's it. There's an energetic control system that makes sure this salt is safe. For example, the first products that I made were my chakra salts. It's a little case with 9 different salts, 7 chakras, one for chakra balance, one fire salt to break through blockages. And these salts are always safe. You can do whatever you want with them. You can throw them at people. Nothing bad will happen. So a beginner then uses a product that is not completely free in its energy. It is a certain dosage of energy. There's a certain release mechanism in it that it doesn't release its energy all at the same time. So each product has to be safety tested. I test all my products with supervision before I put them on the market. So this is how a beginner works with salt healing. You work with a product that is safety tested, and the big power of salt is really only for people who have been trained in a long training. So many salt healers, they worked successfully with salts, have a safety tested system that they work with.
This is very clever because this makes the healers feel safe and protected, and also the clients.
Yes, because in the end, it's about the clients. I mean, some people are scared, like, oh, weapon, oh, so powerful. But it's like when you cook. If you want to cook, it's good to have a sharp knife. Then you cook a meal for your family, and everybody comes and everybody's happy. So that's sort of the idea. You want to use this power very intelligently to help people adjust their energy system right now to the changing times. And this is what the newer earth salt healing is all about. The energies of the time are challenging, and we need some quick and reliable ways to step into these energies happily, joyfully, as much as possible, to not be overwhelmed by them. And this is what the new earth salt healing is about. It's really about this specific time, how to help people not suffer because they cannot cope with the onslaught of this new earth energy.
You are in the flow because my second question is why now and why this training at this time? What does New Earth Salt Healing wants to bring into a person's life today?
Okay, so first of all, why now? Basically, I got the information 3 times. I got the same information. The new earth energies will cause many people to suffer and even die. And there's something you need to do about this. I got this 3 times and very clearly, and then it was clear, okay, I have a task there. And salt healing, that's just my thing. So I sat down, I need to do a 5-day training that's intense. And then, of course, some other things around this, like the 1-day training or the salt by itself. What does the New Earth want? The New Earth wants us to really be what we always already try to be in tune with our soul, to be in tune with our guidance, to not deviate or procrastinate anymore. So in a way, it's just a confirmation of what all us spiritual teachers and consultants have been praying for. Oh, please let this world be a world that's guided by divine guidance. But now is the time when the divine guidance becomes serious. So it means wherever we are not aligned with our divine guidance, this will create a friction that we feel physically, strongly. And again, some people, they cannot cope with this. So I try to help people build a bridge to embrace their light, to embrace their guidance, to say yes to their path quickly. And if they can't, then the salt is there to be a bridge. Say, I have this resistance, I have this trauma, I just can't. Then you can use the salt and create a bridge between that part of yourself that you don't know how to embrace, and the salt makes it possible. So it's really like an emergency enlightenment, if you will.
Yes. So in a way you answer in the other question what this can bring to a person today.
Yeah, I mean, there's always these 2 sides. The professional side, when you're a consultant, you talk about things differently. For a client, it really feels like an inner division, inner being split to way goes away. You
Yes.
feel like, oh, I'm actually not so much conflicted within myself anymore, for example. And also physical symptoms, physical nagging pain is always related to things where we are not aligned with our soul. And it's difficult to be aligned with your soul. It's not easy. So it's a challenge. We all need help, me too. So those physical pains also may really go away once you resolve those inner conflicts, those inner resistance. And yeah, salt is a great bridge because, like I said, it is so powerful. It can really create some connections that you cannot create for you.
When someone will complete this salt healing, will become a salt healer, what someone will learn to do?
So like the bigger part, more than half of the seminar is really about going through the different systems of the physical body. Yeah, the organs, the nervous system, the blood vessels, the brain. We will learn how to address all the different systems of the physical body and step by step invite them to take part in a greater flow of light, because our body needs help with all this light. It's like when you have a light bulb and you put too much power in the light bulb, it goes. And when you have the proper light bulb, higher power light bulb, it just goes very bright and shines a light. And the same with the body. So that's like the biggest part is really to treat and really gently cleanse, first of all, and then very subtly readjust the inner workings of all the physical systems so that all this light that wants to come to Earth through each of us has a way to flow more easily and comfortably. There will be also something for children.
This was one question.
Because children spiritually are so neglected. They come into this world and then they're subject to lots of influences that help them forget who they are. It's about consume a lot of things, and in school you have to sit still and pay attention and learn the things your teacher tells to. And children are souls that come with gifts. Even if they're babies, they can't talk yet. They carry gifts for us. They bring knowledge. They bring help, and so it goes two way. They need adults that see them as a complete being, not as just a little human. You know, of course they're a little human, but they're also a complete soul. So we need to learn to see them as that, and also to ask them, "Hey, welcome. What gifts did you bring?" So everybody should do that to their children, you know, ask them their opinions in big matters, not just do you want an ice cream? Ask them questions about topics your family is dealing with, not to put the burden on them. No, that not. You are taking responsibility, but what is their take on things? And they're so smart and have such great insight. So there will be also a very important part to help children to be seen, and also to sort of build a bridge to their inner knowledge, and to guide them better to not forget who they are. So
This is
that's
amazing.
also,
I
yeah.
loved this part. If someone want to participate, is there some steps that need to do before?
Yes, for the 5-day training, you should at least have the path into light. Because it is a light worker seminar. You have to have some perception of energy and some experience in working with your chakras, working with energy. So we can't cover the foundation of energy work for you. You have to have that. Of course, there are some people who have not done the path into light, but from some different path have already worked with energy. So they should contact me if they want to take part. So we have a talk and I can see if they are ready to take this training. And the second thing is you should be free of any psychotropic drugs like antidepressants, marijuana, cocaine, ayahuasca, any mind-altering drugs. They inhibit our perception to really perceive light and work with light. Of course, there are levels. When you've smoked a joint when you were 16 or 5 joints when you were 16, that's not a big hurdle, that can be easily flushed out of your energy. But if you're, for example, on antidepressant, you will not benefit from it. It will be actually more frustrating than joyful. So that's the second requirement. You should have a drug-free system as much as possible. If you don't, because you took drugs in the past, same thing, you can contact me. We have ways to at least flush the drug residue out of the energy body, physical body. Sometimes you need a homeopathic doctor or somebody who can do that professionally for the physical body. But we have ways to cleanse the energy of that. So again, if you feel drawn to this training and in the past took drugs, contact me. That is free. I'll be happy to help you to flush those out. Some drugs are difficult to flush out. So again, the personal communication with me is helpful, so we can evaluate together if you would benefit from this training, because that's what I want. I want you to be happy when you come and enjoy this.
Of course. So, are the drugs an obstacle to healing?
Obstacle to healing? No. Because this is one of the very exciting things. So those body techniques that we learn, from what I see, I get a very clear yes. This is going to be very, very powerful and very helpful, also for people who are chemically have toxic residue in their system. It promises to be very efficient and really give you a new lease on life. But the fact is, the more psychoactive drugs you are taking, the less you are able to distinguish between your natural light, your own consciousness, and chemical light, because that's what they are, these drugs. Ayahuasca, Bufo, this is chemical light. So it feels like light, it feels very spiritual, but at the same time, you lose more and more the connection to the guidance of your soul. It's like you watch a movie and you don't watch your life. Of course, many people may be of a different opinion. They say it's so holy and it's been done for hundreds of years. This is how I perceive it, believe it or not. But for people who come to me, and in the Agni tradition in general, anybody can do what they want. But if you want the path of your own soul, your own light, your own consciousness, get rid of drugs.
You talked about natural law. What is this and how it's related with the New Earth Salt Healing?
Okay. So natural law is, if you will, really the law of creation. And the way creation is set up, when we're a human being, we have a very limited view. So let's use an example that maybe anybody knows. So you have a friend, and that friend has a very difficult time, maybe a difficult relationship or difficult at their work, and you love your friend and you want them to be better. So you wish for the friend and the relationship, find a different job, but they go through it. And then 6 years later, you meet your friend and your friend is a different person, a better person. Because through that pain and through that difficulty, the friend has learned some super valuable lessons that made them more calm, more connected, more responsible. And you're like, oh my God, you're even better than I knew you. But our tendency is we want to take the pain away. We want to take the difficulty away. But pain and difficulty are great teachers. So that's an example for natural law, to trust in the process of life. Because you don't know, something that may seem bad at the time may later, looking back, have been exactly what you needed to become who you are and who you want to be. And natural law is the ability to see what is right for you and what is wrong for you, and not to just take pain away. Because when you, as a healer, take the pain away, you very often also take the development of someone away. So it's much better as a healer to say, I will give you the strength to use your pain for growth and grow beyond it. That is much, much better. And natural law is the ability to perceive that, what's right for a certain person and what's wrong for a certain person. And even if I don't understand it, I have to learn to trust it, because in the long run, people will be happier with natural law than trying to avoid the natural law. And that, again, to touch back on the drugs, the whole psychoactive drugs thing is a way to step out of natural law. You don't want to feel your pain anymore. And some people think it's such a great shortcut to God. And I say, no, it's just a great shortcut to feeling like God.
So, natural law is very important for soul healing, and with only this structure, the healing, it's finding the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to understand what healing really is ultimately. If you take the big picture, what is healing? So healing is really God heals himself or remembers himself, because what we call God, that is the same as that's the deepest core of yourself. God is not separate. God is the core of creation. It's that emptiness, that nothing out of which everything comes. And this, even to call it consciousness, is already limiting it. So that's why we call it God. It's a simple word. You can call it the Tao or Shunyata, the emptiness, whatever. But I call a God, and God is playing a game of hide and seek. So as a human, we are always connected to God. We are always connected to the source, but we don't see it. We forget it. And then step by step, we reconnect, and healing is really that process. God says it's time for an aspect of you, human, to be reconnected with your source, consciously reconnected. And that is what healing really is. So we cannot heal people. We can only be a vessel, be a messenger to make that connection from God to the human who forgot that he or she is essentially fueled by and governed by this principle called God. So this
So
is how
it's
healing.
as you said, the consciousness. It's to be aware of that you have already the God inside you. You
Yes,
are God.
yes, but there's another important aspect which is devotion, because as long as I think, haha, I am God, then I'm actually separated. Because like I and God. So the only way to reconnect is to that's it's a real adventure is to dare to give up your spirit of I want this and I don't want that, and to really ask your soul, okay, what how will I fulfill myself? What should I do? So you learn to follow, and that is devotion. You devote yourself to the guidance and the path that your innermost soul gives you. And sometimes that's disappointing because you felt you wanted something else. But this is actually the key. The key is really to allow your inner guidance step by step to take over your life. So you do these things not that your human brain wants, but what your heart, the deepest part of your heart, really tells you, hey, you should do this. And this is the way to healing, to reunite yourself is the path of devotion. And for that you need a lot of courage, and you can't do it all just with one decision. You have to learn step by step, be more devoted, be more devoted, be more devoted. So it's like grows like a tree very slowly, until at some point you are not separated anymore on any level. And then when that happens, you're someone like Jesus. Yeah. So you're really, yeah, literally, it's not a joke. I mean that. So when all your parts are totally aligned with your innermost soul, you're what's called an avatar. You're not separated anymore. And the tiny, tiny steps on that path are called healing.
This is true. This is true. Awareness, healing, devotion. What will have changed in the person after these days of training?
I mean, the one thing that really happens is because that's what I said in the beginning, this transformation of the body is so important. And so they should feel, on one level, definitely a lot of relief. Just the way they feel in themselves. They should feel a lot of relief. Feel so much lighter, less burdened. And then also they will have a task, because their task is to spread these techniques and ask other people, try this, trust me, will feel so much better. So their job is then to advertise there is relief available through this salt healing process for people who are really suffering from toxins of the body, toxins of the mind, toxins of the feelings, to really cleanse and transform that system. That their task is to spread that and advertise it and do the work. So it's not just a personal journey, it's also a task.
Wonderful. And Kansan, this is a special question.
Okay.
Why the new earth salt healing is coming to Hanya?
Well, first of all, because I love you. And last time we had such a great time when we were visiting when Mara did Go Regatta 2 and we did the little special seminar, so it was great. On a practical level, because I want to have an opportunity for European clients, so they don't have to travel to Malaysia. So we have a large client base in Asia, and I have good friends in Malaysia. That's why I wanted to go there. So that's the other reason I wanted to have a European location and an Asian location.
And we can have people from all over the world, like
Anybody can come. There will be translation. Even if Asian clients come to Hanya, we will have translation available. So German, Chinese, Greek.
this wonderful knowledge is next to Gaurigata. So it's like 2 weeks full of light.
So and then it's back to back with my salt healer class. Yeah.
Yes. So it will be amazing. Everything will be all together.
Yeah. Last time it was awesome. It was really we had such a good time. So I think it's going to be even better this time. What?
Kazan,
What?
we didn't say the important
Which is the important thing?
to tell me who are you?
Okay, so I'll try to make it short. So I was born in Germany. I studied graphic design first, thought that would be my career. And then I did a Japanese martial art called Aikido. And Aikido already works with energies, it's not brutal, it's really about connection, union type of spirit. And through that, I started to be very interested more and more in spiritual matters, although I was very skeptical, but I was also curious. Then I tried many different schools and seminars and talked to people. And I met people from the Agni tradition in the late 90s. And this was just, again, I'm a practical person. In the Agni tradition, had the most effect on me. I could really see, wow, this changes me. This changes my life. It really has a positive impact. And then I did the Path into Light in the year 2000. And then I walked the entire path, the core path of the Agni tradition, became a master, I think already in 2006 or something like that. And today I am a trainer of spiritual teachers in the Agni tradition. And my own school is the School of Salt Healing that came to me and that I developed step by step. And I do this work basically because I love people. Because the goal of all the spiritual mumbo jumbo is to be happy. It's not about, oh, I'm so special and I have all these great symbols in my aura. And it's about being happy. And to me, I realized true happiness, lasting happiness, is when you know who you are. When you're connected, you don't have to give it a word, but when you are yourself, when you trust in your guidance, when you trust in life, that's to me the greatest source of real happiness, and that's why I do this. I try to encourage people to open up to their true self, their true path. What do you really want? Who are you really? Not follow someone else's path. Discover your own, and it's just I'm passionate about it, and that's what I dedicated my life to, and that's what I will do until I die.
I want to say also that I know you as a teacher and you are amazing because you are a good listener. And also I like that you are grounded and you don't stay in theory, but you make it, you help the other how to work this with this in the daily life. This is very important.
Thank you. Yeah, I try that. For me, daily life is really important, and also even for all our weird spiritual tools. If they don't work, don't use them. I only want to use stuff that works and works in a way that I feel is beneficial. If it's not beneficial, then I forget it. So it's not about blind belief what we do. It's really, in my world, it's about testing.
Yes.
What happens when you open your heart chakra and let the light from your heart chakra flow through your body? What happens? To me, it has real physical effect every single time. So it's beneficial. If I don't know, do something spiritually super weird and it doesn't change me, I don't need to do it. So I really love a practical approach because in the end, to quote my teacher, everything is physics. And there's a physics of the soul. There's a physics of love, of intention. And it's not a question, spirituality here and science there. I think there is a science to everything, and there's a spirit to everything. And I just like practical results.
And what we will drink when you come in Hanya?
Psicodia.